Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Chiranjit Mishra and today I'm going to discuss the news today items of April 10. There are 5 main news and 7 quick updates. And the place in the news today is Mauritius. Let's quickly go through the news headlines. The first main news is about the central government's push for an early implementation of Women's Reservation Act. The second main news is about India's record highest ever annual solar capacity addition. Third one is Anthropic launches project Glasswing for artificial intelligence cybersecurity. The fourth main news is about a study which shows Earth's night brightness increasing due to light pollution. Okay, very interesting topic. The last main news is about the United Nations report or UNDSA report, which highlights challenges in sustainable development financing. Why developing and low income countries are lagging behind. Now let's go through the quick updates. The first one is about the government notification about Central Armed Forces Act, Central Armed Police Forces Act 2026. Okay, how the cadre officers are facing problems and how IPS officers are occupying high offices. We'll go through what the new act contains. Next one is about India-Bhutan strengthening clean energy partnership, especially this hydropower. Then Antarctic species endangered due to climate change. There are 2 species, one is your emperor penguin and another is your seal species. Next one is about development of frog-inspired neuromorphic humidity sensor. Next quick update is about Kandla port, which has advanced methanol bunkering initiative. That means it's going to fuel its ship using methanol, which is a cleaner version of fuel. Next, or the second last quick update is about your Kashmiri scientists in Kashmir who have cracked the code of cultivating this rare species of mushroom. And the last quick update is about measles outbreak in Bangladesh. So we'll focus on measles as a disease, a viral disease. And as I said in the beginning, the place in the news today is Mauritius. Without delaying, let's go through the first main news. Okay. So the government is planning to implement this act, which will result in 33% reservation at the central legislature, especially Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. That also includes the legislative assembly of Delhi Union Territory. Okay. Now you all know that in 2023 there was this Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, 2023. We already have an act in place, but it requires implementation. Okay, because we cannot simply randomly reserve 33% for women. It's not possible. There has to be a proper procedure which starts with census. Okay, census helps us to understand the demography of a country. In India's case, it's India's demography. Then there is a body which is called Delimitation Commission. On the basis of a particular census, it redistributes constituencies, and only then we can reserve 33% seats or constituencies for women. Now you all know the last census took place in 2011. Okay, last census. The next census is going to take place. It has already started. The training is over. Gradually they're going to start. 2027 they will ready the data. And when is the next general elections? 2029. I hope you all remember these important dates. 2027 the census data will be released. 29 your date of general elections. Next 19 Lok Sabha elections. Okay. Now only after the census data is released, delimitation commission can be constituted. It can be constituted, and it will then redistribute constituencies. So the time period is very narrow, as you can see, between 2027 and 29, and it's a very strenuous exercise. It's not that easy. For a country like India, where there are 150 crore people, you think on the basis of census data, the delimitation commission can easily redistribute. And then there will be opposition, okay, because it will be floated. They will share the terms of reference, how they're going to do it. Okay, it's a very lengthy procedure. That is why the government had decided that we will implement the 2023 106 Constitutional Amendment Act. They're going to propose another bill, because as per the 2023 Act, the next census was going to decide the redistribution of constituencies so that the 33% rule can be implemented. Now the government has to make an amendment. we cannot rely upon the next census 2027. We have to use the data from 2011 to implement the 33% rule. Okay. To implement the 33% rule, the government has said that Union Cabinet has approved an amendment to the present act. They have not presented the draft yet, but it is already in the news. And they're also planning to increase the number of seats of Lok Sabha, 543 to 816, if I'm not wrong. Okay, this is in the news. It has not yet been confirmed, because a bill will be proposed, then there will be a debate, and then finally it will be approved and it will receive president's assent. Okay, then the amendment will be completed. Because 33% आप दे कैसे सकता? If you have 100 seats, that means 67 will be normal seats and 33 reserved. Okay, in this case 543 is 33%. That means 1/3, close to 180 or 181 seats. I don't think they're going to reserve 181 seats from 543. No, that is not the plan. They're going to reach this number, 816, and of that 1/3 will be reserved for women. That means you can say close to 240 seats. Okay, 240, yeah, 816 divided by 3. Okay, so no, it will be close to, I guess, 270 seats. 270 seats divided by 3, and you can subtract 270 from 816. It will be close to 543, 546. Okay, that means the present number will remain intact. Okay, that will be open to all, but only by increasing the number they can implement this 33% rule. 543 open to all होगा, जैसे अभी भी है. Because they are going to implement the 33% rule, they have to increase the total number of seats. I hope you understood the maths. Okay, so that's it. That is the story. The bill will be proposed, I think, 4 or 5 days later, because the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister of India, he had mentioned it in an op-ed that the government is planning to do that. Okay. 16th of April, Parliament will be convened to discuss and pass an important bill that advances women's reservation. So, government fast tracks implementation of Women's Reservation Act before schedule. Targeted rollout aligned with 2023 general elections timeline. This is more important. Okay. Using the census data is not that important. What is important? Because general elections have to be conducted. So whatever data is available, let's use that. And the readily available data is that of 2011. 2027 census will take time. Parliament may be convened soon to advance proposal. Lok Sabha strengthens proposed to increase 543 to 816, as I said. Only then it will be able to accommodate this new provision. Reservation includes women within SC and ST. So this is called vertical reservation. Okay, already we have seats reserved for SC and ST. So whenever this 33% women quota will be implemented, it will be vertically. For example, this is a box. General seats, SC and ST. Okay, when this women reservation will be implemented, it will be like this, cut across. This means isme bhi hoga, isme bhi hoga, isme bhi hoga, same percentage. Okay, this is called vertical implementation. Originally linked to post 2027 census delimitation exercise, but the government thinks it will be very late because the elections are near. Already 2 years have passed since the last election. So 3 years won't be enough, 2 years won't be enough between the next census and the next general elections to implement the provisions that the next delimitation commission is going to create. Okay, so 2011 ही हो जाएगा हमारा year. Don't forget that. Now proposed using 2011 census for faster implementation. Why this amendment is required? Because the 2023 Act, it said it will be on the basis of the next census. Now they are going to remove that word next census, and some other provisions have to be removed and modified, and it will be inserted. What will be inserted? 2011 year. This year will be inserted. Okay. One-third seats reserved in Lok Sabha and state assemblies. Reservation applies to Delhi Legislative Assembly as well. So at the Panchayati Raj level, the rule is already followed. Okay, so this new rule is for the central legislature and the state legislative assemblies. That also includes the Legislative Assembly of Delhi. That is why 3 amendments were made. Okay, this one is 330A. It was for, let me change the color of the pen. Okay, this was for the parliament. This is for state legislative assemblies. This is for Delhi. Okay. Aims to enhance women participation in decision making process. What are the benefits or positives of this step? Because nearly 50% of India's total population is actually females. So women constitute 50% of India's total population. That means they should have equal representation in the central legislature and the state legislative assemblies. Improves legislative quality through diverse representation, promotes equality, strengthens democratic participation and inclusivity in governance. Okay, that's it. Now the next news is about study shows a rise in artificial night light globally. Okay, and it is gradually increasing more and more. And some countries have performed really poorly when it comes to using light at night. Okay, for example, the countries which are experiencing more and more light pollution are, one of them is of course India, even US is on the list, China, Canada and Brazil. So you can see two developed countries, US and Canada, okay, two developed countries, and the other three are big economies. Okay, and what is light pollution? When artificial lighting is used in a misdirected manner. Okay, using artificial light in a misdirected and excessive manner, that causes light pollution. That means that affects visibility of night sky. And that is why many astronomers or astrophysicists, they use observatories which are based on high altitude areas. Okay, क्योंकि अर्थ ऑब्जर्वेशन अगर आपको करना है, they are called stargazers. Stargazers मतलब those people who gaze at stars. They keep looking at stars. It's an informal term for astronomers, those who study night sky, constellations, galaxies. Okay, if there is light pollution, how they will observe the night sky? Okay, and these countries are the ones which have performed really badly because artificial lighting is causing a lot of problem. Okay, and as per the report, there is a 16% rise. Okay, and rise in brightness of the night light. Brightness. Okay, brightness में 16% rise हुआ है over the last decade. Okay, let's go through the details. I hope you understood the concept. Now you have to memorize the facts. Light pollution means excessive or misdirected artificial outdoor lighting. It's a very nice way to begin your answer if it's ever asked in the mains exam. What is light pollution? Study shows 16% rise in artificial night light globally. Annual increase is 2%. Every year 2% it's increasing. 2 plus 100 plus 2, then 2% of that, then 2% of that. It's getting compounded. Okay. Growth driven by urbanization, electrification, infrastructure expansion. Sub-Saharan Africa, Southeast Asia show a rapid brightness increase. So the rate of increase, although these are the countries which are experiencing the worst kind of light pollution, these areas have shown a rapid rise in the level of light pollution. That means they're going to soon reach the level of these countries. Okay, when the rate is high, that means you're moving very fast. Maybe you have not reached this point, but you're moving very fast towards the level that these countries have already attained. LED adoption increased usage due to rebound effect. It's a very interesting phenomenon called rebound effect. Okay, and there is another related concept which is also called Jevons paradox. होता ये है, whenever there is a device or any commodity which is very costly, okay, and it is not very energy efficient, you always go for a cheaper and more energy efficient version of that alternative. Okay, earlier we used to use 100-watt bulb, incandescent bulbs. Now we have LED, which consumes much less power and it's much more bright. ये इतना सस्ता हो गया, it's so cheap, now we are using more and more of LEDs. Okay, that means in a way earlier we used to use say एक 100-watt का bulb, उसका price था say 100 rupees, say 100 rupees. Now we say wow, LEDs are available for rupees 10. Let's use 1,000 of them. Why? Because they're cheap. So what is the total cost? 10 to the power 4, 10,000. It's so cheap that you have started to use it more and more. In a way, the net effect is even worse than what was it before. Okay, that is called Jevons paradox. It's a paradox. Because it is cheap, you're using it more, and so much more that it has become, in a way, very expensive. And it has added to or heightened this problem of light pollution. Okay, and that is called rebound effect. Impact disrupts circadian rhythm and melatonin, causing sleep disorders, of course. And we also discussed this thing with regard to what kind of light you're using, blue light or yellow light. Yellow light is soothing for your eyes, they don't cause sleep disruption or your 24-hour cycle, that is your circadian rhythm. Okay, and melatonin is actually a neurotransmitter that enhances or induces sleep. If there is this disruption in that level, you will have insomnia. Disorients birds, harms turtles, disrupts nocturnal wildlife cycles. Now bats are finding it difficult to move because bats operate in darkness when it's dark. Now if there is light, that will also affect the lives of many nocturnal animals. Sky glow affects astronomy and increases energy wastage. Raises carbon footprint due to inefficient lighting use. So these are very common problems. You just need to understand. There is no need to understand. I hope they're at your fingertips. What are the measures that have been taken so far in India? Hanle designated India's first dark sky reserve in 2022. Hanle is in Ladakh. Very high altitude place where you can go. The night sky is clearly visible. There are many wonderful pictures available on the internet about, the way the night sky actually looks. You can see the entire Milky Way galaxy. Okay, plenty of stars and constellations and galaxies. So you need such areas, and India has already earmarked this one. There is one more place which is called Pench Wildlife Sanctuary in Maharashtra, I think close to Madhya Pradesh border. Okay. They also have a particular perimeter in which there is no light use after a certain period of time. That way the night sky is totally visible. Smart lighting adoption helps reduce light pollution. And if you want to include global best practices, Europe has done really well. Europe is gradually dimming the brightness of the night lighting. Not the United States, Europe. Okay, because they have adopted strict measures. Okay, so this area is actually Changtang Wildlife Sanctuary, Ladakh, Hanle only, and this one Pench is in Maharashtra. Next news is about India's solar energy capacity addition. So because India is very closely following the Panchamrit goals, we have to increase our use of non-fossil sources and also the renewable sources. So renewable sources have already reached 51%. 51% of the total energy installed power, of total installed power. I think installed power close is the theoretical ability to generate power. It's called installed power, not the exact amount produced. Installed capacity. Using the existing infrastructure, what is the amount of energy or maximum amount of energy that can be created? That is your installed capacity. It is a nice measure. Although the actual energy generated is much less, but we always focus on this term. I think in India's case, it's close to 540 gigawatts. And of that, 51%, so more than 270, say 273 gigawatts is from the renewables. Okay, 51% of the total. And close to 60% of this, or I think 55% is because of solar power. That means in India's energy mix and among the renewables, solar power accounts for the maximum power source. Okay, and what follows solar power? Wind power. So now let's make it very clear. You have understood India's total energy mix. If 100 units of power can be produced in India, of that, I think solar power contributes to close to 55 units. The number slightly varies. Some say 50, some say 60. And 32 using wind power. Okay, 10 years ago, the contribution of solar power was very low. In the last decade, the percentage of solar power has risen, and most of the efforts have come from Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, these states. Okay, they have done really well, and that is why last year I think we added 45 gigawatts of solar power installed capacity. Okay, and why has India done so well? Because India is a tropical country, as you know. There is a subtropical part also, but because it has latitudinal advantage, the sun rays can actually fall very directly on any place twice a year exactly, and also they're not at an angle as you see in higher latitude areas. Okay, because आप अर्थ के यहाँ पे जाओगे पोल पे तो the rays are always like this horizontal, whereas here they are always very direct. Okay, if you consider the axial tilt also, reasonable amount of sunlight is received. Okay, that is why India also led this alliance called International Solar Alliance. The headquarters is located in Gurgaon. That means India has done a lot, because of which we are able to maximize the percentage of solar power. India added a record 45 gigawatt of solar capacity in 2025-26. I think to 24-25 it should be, because last year's data, this year it has been released. Okay, till your, or maybe 2025-26, because 31st March they must have calculated again, but yeah, it's okay. You can say last year means 31st 2026, 31st of March, total solar capacity reached 150 gigawatts, and 45 was added last year. That means before that it was 105. In 1 year they added 45 gigawatts, increased sharply from 2.82 in 2014. Now you can see the increase. It has increased nearly 60 times. Okay, 55 times at least. India ranks third globally in solar energy capacity. Rank 1 is US and then China. And US, China have terawatts of energy. India's is gigawatt, 150. They have some 900 terawatts. That means 10 into 10 to the power 12, 10 to the power 12 watts. The number is very high. That means India is nowhere close to China and United States, but still it is at number 3. The states that have done really well are Rajasthan, Gujarat and Tamil Nadu. Okay, because the desert area and clear sky, there are no clouds, so maximum amount of solar energy can be utilized. Solar energy harnessed directly from sunlight. You can use the heat, the light, and the technology is used in solar cookers or solar heaters. You can also cook rice using that. Water can also boil, okay, if constantly, and you can also use mirrors to generate the amount of, increase the amount of heat. Another way to use solar power is you're using photovoltaics. Photons fall, electrons move, and then there are electrons and holes, which is used in semiconductors. Solar panel, okay. So there are two ways to use solar power. One is the heat itself and the light itself by using concentrated mirrors, and the second way is using silicon chips or anything that has p-n junction. Okay, so semiconductor ke through you can use electricity. That is called photovoltaics, and that is what the government is constantly pushing through PM, that solar rooftop yojana or PM Kusum yojana. Okay, so let's go through the measures that helped us to achieve this. The first one is, of course, the natural factor or India's geographical advantage. 300 to 330 sunny days on an average. There are many places where there is cloud coverage throughout the day or most part of the year, but on an average India receives 300 to 330 sunny days. Solar radiation ranges between 4 to 7 kilowatt hour per square meter, and per square meter is not a very big place, like this only. This much area can receive so much solar power that it can actually cater to all your daily needs of electricity, only if we are able to efficiently capture the solar power. 4 to 7 kilowatt hour, that means 4 to 7 units. जो आपका बिल आता है ना यूनिट्स में, इतना ही यूनिट्स है ये. PM Suryaghar targets rooftop solar power for 1 crore households. I think 24 lakh households have already benefited. The target is 1 crore. That means 25% completed. Okay. Government schemes include PM Kusum, solar water pumps, and National Solar Mission. Solar parks and ultra mega projects boost large scale generation. PLSI schemes, that means more incentives will be given, subsidies, if they're locally manufactured. Focus on gigawatt scale domestic solar PV manufacturing capacity. India co-founded International Solar Alliance in 2015. In Paris, India, France, they took the lead, and its headquarters is located in Gurgaon. One Sun, One World, One Grid initiative. This is an initiative by India, France, UK, and ISA, in International Solar Alliance, as a separate entity. Okay. So question was asked in 2016, a previous year question. The International Solar Alliance was launched at the United Nations Climate Change Conference in 2015. It's correct, in Paris. Okay. In the Prime Minister of India used a term called Suryaputras. That means all those countries which receive, which are located between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. The alliance includes all the members of all member countries of the United Nations. No, that is wrong. Not 196. It's close to, I think, 125. Okay. So second statement is not correct. That's why A. Next question, 2025. Consider the following statements about PM Suryaghar Muft Bijli Yojana. It targets installation of 1 crore solar rooftop panels in the residential sector. That's correct. Ministry of New and Renewable Energy aims to impart training on installation, operation, maintenance, and repairs of solar rooftop systems at grassroots levels. Correct. It aims to create more than 3 lakh skilled manpower through fresh skilling and uplift. I think there is the gadbad in the number. That is why 1 and 2 are correct. Okay. 1 and 2. 3 is more than 3 lakhs. I think this number is correct. Not 3 million, it's 3 lakhs. Yeah, this one is correct. So all the 3 statements are correct. 1, 2, and 3. Not 3 million, 3 lakh. That means 0.3 million. Yeah. So sometimes UPSC can also play on figures, but you have to be very careful. This is all about memorization. Fourth main news, it's about Project Glasswing. So how artificial intelligence can be used to enhance cybersecurity. So there is this company called Anthropic, which has created its own AI model known for cloud. It's called Claude Mythos, which is it's an AI model, and many other big companies have also contributed to its development. Because cybersecurity mein hota kya hai? You use codes to make your transaction of information or transmission of information secure. Now codes contain bugs, and bugs or loopholes which hackers can use to hack systems. Systems can be compromised. So that's why engineers, they had to go through millions of lines of codes or lakhs of lines of codes to make sure that the system or software is secure. Now the same job can be done by AI very quickly and fast. That is why it's very important from the point of view of cybersecurity. Okay. So let's go through the salient features. Context is Anthropic launched Project Glasswing for AI-based cybersecurity solutions. Initiative addresses shortage of skilled cybersecurity professionals globally. Okay. Because we don't have enough number of cybersecurity professionals, we can use AI models which can quickly go through the codes. It can be done manually, but it's time taking. And it's much more efficient when you use AI. Why? Because they use several parameters. They use different algorithms. For example, just like your Google spams, there is this algorithm called classification. Okay. It's a type of very basic algorithm, logistic regression. That is the name of the algorithm that is used. So there will be labeled data, and the system will be made to know which one is good, which one is bad, or how does a spam email look. On the basis of that, when you feed more data into it, the model gets better trained. Okay, so that is why the AI model can easily understand what are the problems in the various lines of codes or weak lines of codes. That way it can send messages कि this part is making the entire system vulnerable. Okay. Coalition includes major firms like Amazon, Apple, Google, and Microsoft. So they're all putting their heads together. Uses advanced AI model cloud Mythos preview for detection. Remember the name of this. This is very important from the point of view of prelims also. A factual question. Cloud Mythos, what is it? It's an AI model for cybersecurity. AI model may surpass humans in finding vulnerabilities. Detects zero-day vulnerabilities and generates automatic security patches. Zero-day vulnerability is that vulnerability for which you have no time to cure or patch. For example, a software is going to be released and there are developers who have developed the software. They are not aware of each and every weakness. They have just created it. For example, you have produced or you have baked a cake, and there will be a taster will taste the quality of the cake, and then he or she will give you feedback so that you can improve it. Now you are not aware of the weaknesses of your cake. Similarly, there is a software and you are not aware of the vulnerabilities or weaknesses of your software. You get to know about it through trained professionals. And sometimes the hackers, they get to know about the weaknesses before you do. Okay, that is called zero day. That means you're going to release the software tomorrow and you don't have that much time to improve it. Okay, zero day vulnerability. Zero day vulnerabilities are hidden software flaws exploited by attackers. Then you'll get aware, okay, my system has been hacked. It has been a teaching, learning lesson for me. So it's better to, prevention is better than cure. Okay, that is why AI model. Risks associated, what are the risks associated with AI? Faces risk from adversarial cyber attacks targeting models, requires large user data, raising privacy and surveillance concerns. Sometimes the hackers can also hack the AI models. That is called model poisoning. There is a term called model poisoning. Okay. They can also tweak the model. They can make it less efficient in catching them. They'll also say, okay, this is not a bad email, this is not a bad line of code. The AI model will also agree. That means AI is of course not a human being. But when you train it with bad data, it will act accordingly. That is called model poisoning. Okay. So model poisoning can corrupt AI training and reduce effectiveness. This is done by the hackers. Solutions kya hai? AI enables real-time threat detection using behavioral pattern analysis. Okay. How that is how spams are detected. Helps detect phishing, spam, and advanced cyber threats. Supports malware detection and prevention of DDoS attack. DDoS means distributed denial of service. When a server is flooded with many requests, it fails, it crashes. Okay, that happens when some bots, artificially created bots, are used and they generate so many messages. When you're using a website, you're basically sending a request to the server. You give me this piece of information. And when many people visit the website, the traffic suddenly increases, web traffic. And that leads to the crashing of the server. Okay. And this is called distributed denial of service. The server will simply say, I cannot serve you. Improves reporting accuracy and scalability in cybersecurity system. That means creating a system at the low level and then using it at a mega level. That is called scalability. Okay. So these are the solutions. Next, the last main news, which is your financing for sustainable development. This report has been submitted by UNDSA, okay, United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. Okay. It tracks and provides solutions as to how to implement the sustainable development goals. Okay. Because sustainable development goals are not possible on every country's part, especially developing countries. They're using traditional methods. For example, a simple example is a traditional method to generate electricity. What is it? Using coal. Simplest, easiest. But it is polluting. It pollutes the environment. But it's very cheap. If a country wants to switch to a modern method, it has to invest a lot. But it doesn't have enough money. So that is why the report says that there is this gap of nearly $4 trillion between what has to be done and what is not done to get sustainable, to achieve or attain sustainable development goals. Okay, let's go through the findings of the report and the suggestions. UNDSA report highlights financing challenges for sustainable developments. Many developing countries' incomes remain below pre-2019 levels. I hope you understand this year it's called because of COVID-19. So COVID-19 has been cited as a big reason why many economies failed and why they're not able to meet the sustainable development targets. Conflicts impacting energy prices, trade and economic stability. Now look at the ongoing war between Iran and Israel, supported by the United States, Ukraine, Russia. Okay, so these are war between limited number of countries, but the entire globe is affected. 4 trillion annual gap exists in SDG financing needs. That is why I think a year ago, this is called, I have forgotten the name of the place, it's called Seville or Sevilla in Spain. And there was a commitment made Seville, sometimes it's called Sevilla in Spain. Okay, a commitment was made to fill this gap, $4 trillion annual gap between the present methods and the sustainable methods. You can adopt sustainable or modern methods only if you are able to invest money for the new kinds of technology. Calls for strengthening domestic private sector and investment diversification. Okay, so from that point of view, you can simply understand that UNDSA is the body which submitted the report, and these are the report findings. You can insert in your mains answer to enrich the quality of your answer. Nothing else. UNDSA is actually based in United Nations Secretariat and it's located in New York. Okay, and it acts or serves as a think tank for sustainable solutions. That's it. Now let's go through the place in the news, which is Mauritius. Mauritius is located in the southwest Indian Ocean, and it was in the news because of some deal between India and Mauritius in implementing certain projects, development projects, and India is going to give loans and grants. So the capital of Mauritius is Port Louis. Okay, remember Port Louis. Official language is English. There are many migrants from India who are based in Mauritius, especially from Bihar and Eastern UP. Okay, geography: an island in the southwest Indian Ocean. Here you'll find this is Mauritius. Here to the left side you'll find Madagascar. That means it's located to the east of Madagascar, and Madagascar is located to the west of Mauritius. Okay, southwest Indian Ocean, very close to Africa. Okay, and the island is volcanic in nature, and it's a part of Mascarene Islands. Mascarene Islands are a group of 3 islands, I think: Mauritius, Reunion and Rodrigues. Reunion and Rodrigues. Please remember, Mauritius, Reunion Island, which is a separate entity, and Rodrigues. Together, Mauritius and Rodrigues form the Republic of Mauritius. Okay, and these 3 islands are part of Mascarene Islands. The entire island is volcanic in nature. Remember that. Volcanic in nature doesn't necessarily mean that there are plenty of volcanoes. That means the island may be made of basalts or basaltic rocks. It's a type of volcanic rock. Okay, so that's it. Let's quickly go through the quick updates. Central Armed Police Forces Act 2026. I think it's a very important piece of news. It should have been one of the main news according to me. Okay, because see, there has been an ongoing tug of war between, many of you must be preparing for CAPF exam also. So that's a separate cadre. Now there is this civil services, and one of the most sought after services is your IPS. So there is this ongoing IPS officers and CAPF officers. CAPF officers are also Group A officers. But as every officer seeks career progression, okay, that means promotion. But when you go up on the ladder, you'll find many IPS officers in the CAPF services like Central Industrial Security Forces, okay, or CRPF or Indo-Tibetan Border Police Force. Most of the important or higher officers are reserved for IPS officers. So CAPF officers are saying the services are named after us, CAPF, but then why are IPS officers manning the higher posts. Supreme Court also intervened. It said, okay, some amount of posts can be reserved for IPS officers, but make sure that CAPF officers are also getting their proper career progression. Okay, so that is why, and there was no proper law. There are different types of Central Armed Police Services, which are CRPF, which comes under Home Ministry, Sahastra Sima Bal, which guards your Assam border, Bangladesh border, then Indo-Tibetan Border Police Force, okay, then your CISF, Central Industrial Security Force, okay, then you have also Assam Rifles, okay. So these are all SSB, Sahastra Sima Bal, BSF, Border Security Force, guarding your Bangladesh border and Pakistan border, BSF, okay. So there are senior officers, they don't get promoted, the CPF officers, okay. That is why the central government has introduced a new act. It has made mandatory or legal reservation of certain posts for the IPS officers. So I hope that's why many CAPF officers are protesting even more now. Earlier there was no particular rule, okay. Now they have made it mandatory that at the IG level there will be 20% reservation, and at the DIG level, at the IG level there will be 50% reservation for IPS officers, and at DIG 20%, okay. So these many posts cannot be occupied or taken by the CAPF officers. That is why many of them are actually protesting, their family members and ex-officers. It replaces executive orders with law-based system. And how the government is supporting this provision, it's saying because IPS officers are very experienced officers and they know how the linkage between the union government and the state governments. That is where their presence in these services is very important and it's indispensable, okay. Although CAPF officers are not on the same page. Aims to improve coordination and efficiency between the center and the states. Concerns over impact on CAPF officers' promotions. This is the negative and this is the positive, okay. It's an important piece of news, and I think many people are asked this question in their UPSC interviews also, CS interviews, because many CAPF officers are applying for civil services. Punat Changchu 2 hydroelectric project, and it's related to Bhutan. So the only reason you should memorize this is because if a question is asked about India's neighborhood policy, you can insert this as a point, or you can remember this fact because it's important from the point of view of prelims. So India, Bhutan, they have been working on several hydropower projects because Bhutan is a hilly tract and there are many run-of-the-river projects, and one such project is Punat Changchu, which has to be expedited because recently India's minister visited Bhutan, and this is again in the news. India-Bhutan cooperation in clean energy strengthened. Focus on Punat Changchu 2 hydel project. Hydropower is central to Bhutan's economy. Why? Because of its hilly tracts. So you can already use the existing slopes of the hills through which water flows, and that way you can move the turbine and generate electricity. Okay. Next is IUCN Red List categories updates. So 2, as per new reports, as per this IUCN, 2 species, they're moving towards extinction. That is why their protection status has improved. I mean, improved in the sense it has become more serious. Earlier, one of the 2 species, which was your emperor penguins, I think it was near threatened. And seals were close to least concern. Now they're both endangered. What are the reasons? Rise in the sea levels. And due to rise in sea levels and rise in ocean temperatures, their diets have been affected because many of the species survive on small fish. Krills is one of them, krills. Okay. Now when krills population, the population falls, the entire food chain is affected, and they also experience gradual decline in their population. And when that rate of decline is very high, IUCN marks them endangered. Okay, rate of decline. The population falls and how fast it falls, how rapidly it falls, it matters a lot. Okay, and IUCN maintains a red book. There are 5 stages, and this is very important from the point of view of UPSC prelims. Okay, 5 stages. One is your least concerned, near threatened, vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, and then extinction. And there's also extinction in wild and extinction completely extinct. Okay, there are several. So these are the 5 most important criteria. Sea ice loss is the primary threat. Climate change altering Antarctic ecosystem. Emperor penguins are very important and very famous also. You must have seen their videos, the BBC Planet Earth. Okay, impacts breeding and food availability. Risk of sharp population decline. Next, neuromorphic sensor inspired by frogs. So frogs have very rubbery skin. There are sensors present which check the humidity level. Humidity level means percentage of water in the air, then ambience air, and then accordingly, whatever the sensor receives present in the frog skin, the frog's activity gets regulated. Okay, its metabolism, its other activities, for example, food intake, sleep, everything is regulated by the humidity present in the ambience air. So this is using this or inspired by this particular technology, natural technology you can say, present in the frogs. We are going to use this technology in our electronics so that the system efficiency can be maintained. Okay, because there are many weather monitoring stations also. They depend upon, whenever they study the weather or climate of a particular region, they study the moisture level or moisture content, which is humidity, temperature and everything. So that is going to help the those electronic devices or systems. Consumes less energy than traditional sensors, and also they can be used in your normal mobile phones and laptops, because their performance also depends upon the outside ambience temperature and humidity level. Accordingly, they can adjust the performance of the computer or the work rate of the systems. Combine sensing and processing, useful for smart and adaptive electronics. Okay, not a very important topic, I would say. Kandla port advances methanol bunkering. This is very important. Kandla is a port which is located in Gujarat, and it is the largest port in terms of the volume of cargoes handled. And it has decided to use methanol. Methanol means a type of alcohol, just like ethanol. Methanol is C3OH, and which is much more environment friendly. So now they're going to bunker, means using fuel for ships only. Okay. Largest port in terms of volumes of goods, methanol bunkering for ships, cleaner fuel, and it is one of the major ports. There are 13 major ports. One is privately handled, I think Kamarachar port, and Kandla is one such major port. There are 12 government handled major ports and one private handled major port. So if they ask which is the first port to use methanol, you can say Kandla port. Morchilla mushrooms in Kashmir. There was a question in UPSC that UPSC asked, I think in 2022, okay, about Gucci mushrooms. Same mushroom, it's Gucci only. Okay, I browsed on the internet. Gucci mushrooms. These mushrooms are found in the Himalayas, Western Himalayas, and Kashmir is famous for it. Now the mushrooms have many health benefits, and the taste is also like of the supreme level. That is why the value of the mushrooms is very high. The price, okay, the price is very high. Now because they're found in wild, now scientists have developed a technique, because it has commercial importance, so that its cultivation can be improved. Okay, so that is why it was in the news. They have not yet been given GI status. I checked on the internet, they have not yet been given, although the state has applied for the same. They grow in wild and spongy in appearance. So if you want to check the figure, they looks somewhat like this, spongy and porous. Okay, it's Gucci mushroom. It also called Morchella. Okay, and earlier dependent on wild collection, now they can be commercially cultivated. Very expensive, as you can see. The price is between 30 to 40,000 per kg. A question was asked in 2022, yes, about Gucci. With reference to Gucci, sometimes mentioned in the news, consider the following statements. It is a fungus. Of course, all mushrooms are fungi. It grows in some Himalayan forest areas. Correct. It is commercially cultivated in the Himalayan foothills of the northeastern India. Here the UPSC created a trap, not northeastern but northwestern. Okay, that is why 1 and 2. Last quick update is about measles. There is an outbreak in Bangladesh, and measles is a deadly disease. There are two different types of measles. One is measles and one is German measles. Okay, German measles is caused by a virus. Both the types of measles are caused by virus. This one is caused by a virus called rubella. This is less virulent in nature and less severe, but normal measles is very dangerous. The temperature can be very high and you'll get severe red spots everywhere. In German measles also you get rashes, but they're mild. Normal measles, which is more dangerous, is caused by rubeola virus. See the difference? It's rubeola and this is rubella. Rubella is for German and rubeola is for normal measles. Okay, so here you have to memorize. And as you know, under Mission Indradhanush or Universal Immunization Program, vaccines are given for 12 diseases. 12 plus 1, Japanese encephalitis. But Japanese wala jo encephalitis hai, that is only in certain districts, I think close to Bihar and West Bengal. Among all the permanent 12 diseases, measles is one of those. Okay, so vaccines can be very helpful for disease prevention. So that's it. Now, as we always say, try to make the most of VisionIAS digital current affairs to enrich your knowledge. And now 6 questions will flash on your screen. Do take them. Wish you all the very best.